In an area known as the Fertile Crescent, three great civilizations grew up in the heart of a desert. The life-giving waters of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers made this possible. It was known as Mesopotamia, which is Greek for land between the rivers. The Sumerians were able to take the waters of these rivers and create surplus crops. This allowed for trade, and that trade gave rise to the world's first cities. Sumer, Uruk, and Eridu were some of the world's first cities. In addition to cities, the Sumerians gave the world its first writing system, known as cuneiform. And as hard as this is to read for us, considering we don't understand it, it's still more legible than some of your handwriting. One good thing about the Sumerians, at least if you're a man and married, is that men could pay off their debts by selling their wives into slavery. As the cities grew and trade increased, it became necessary to haul goods great distances. This gave birth to the invention of the wheel. Now, historians disagree on this somewhat, because we do know the Chinese were using a potter's wheel before the Sumerians, which would mean they technically invented the wheel. And, of course, not to be outdone, Americans have invented a wheel of their own. The Sumerians developed a number system based on 60, a 12-month calendar based on the moon cycle, and built arches to make their buildings sturdier. Sumerian children went to schools, and scribes attended special schools known as edubas. Sumerian children who acted out in school were often beaten by both their teachers and their parents, which is the single largest reason I'm currently spending my weekends trying to invent a time machine. The Sumerians were polytheistic, meaning they worshipped several gods. They also believed death was in an underworld, which was dark, cold, lifeless, and filled with shadows, a place better known today as the inside of your closet. The Sumerians worshipped their gods so much that every day they paid honor to them by hauling all of this to the top of a ziggurat. Unlike the Sumerians, the Assyrians were really into war. In fact, they put together one of the most effective militaries the world has ever seen. The tallest men in the Assyrian army served as spear carriers. The shield bearers were equipped with armor made of leather-plated wicker, and their sole job was to protect the archers. The Assyrians used charioteers to break the enemy's lines, and, once they had, a powerful cavalry would charge through. If you were killed in battle, the Assyrians believed you had been overlooked by their main god, Ishtar. Messengers using clay tablets or fire towers helped the Assyrian army communicate with distant lands. The range of the Assyrian army was often up to 300 miles, thanks to storehouses that were built where grain and other food and weaponry could be stored. To conquer walled cities, they used siege engines, an innovation World War II would better know as the tank. The Assyrians were fearless and demanded discipline. For proof, you need look no further than lion hunting being a favored sport amongst the wealthy, and any soldier who showed up late for duty was immediately executed. Finally, the Babylonians are the third Mesopotamian civilization worth noting, mostly because the Babylonians gave us much of the basis for our current legal system. King Hammurabi and his code stated an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. According to his system of laws, which was one of the world's first, if a builder built a house and that house fell down and killed the son of the homeowner, the builder's son would be put to death. Hammurabi's code did more than force many a young carpenter's son to flee his empire. It also set the basis for much of the world's legal system today. Justice is officially defined as just behavior or treatment. Hammurabi also believed a person was innocent until proven guilty, which meant people could plead their cases to him. Today we approach the law the same way, which is why Lady Justice is blindfolded. We don't want judges to literally judge people based on their race or background or wealth. Everybody should be able to go into court and argue their innocence, which is what Hammurabi believed 3,000 years ago, and we still practice today. And Hammurabi also had different levels for punishments, much like we do today. This means you'll get in trouble for stealing a pack of gum from the grocery store, but you won't get executed. I mean, come on, this isn't North Korea after all. The U.S. also has something called states' rights. Thank you, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was known for more than just loving a great fur or buying the entire other half of our country. He was an inventor, a scientist, a writer, politician, author of the Declaration of Independence, and the third president of the United States. But above all of this, Jefferson argued for states' rights, which is part of the reason that today every state doesn't have the exact same laws and penalties. For example, only 19 states have the death penalty as a possible punishment. And oh yeah, Did I mention he's on Mount Rushmore? No, I wasn't trying to stick that arrow up his nose. But there you have it, folks, the Mesopotamians in less than 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep smiling, keep learning, and always keep loving social studies.